For the ACR Network, I'm Adam Clark. While China is blatantly censoring images of the Hong Kong protests on state-run television and banning most social media outlets countrywide, you may be feeling thankful that you live in a country such as America, where the internet is still free and available, and social media giants rule the information superhighway. But some experts are warning us about the real-life dangers we risk because of our virtual online activities, including the inventor of the World Wide Web himself. Today is Monday, September 29th, 2014, and this is the Daily Ruckus. The Guardian reports, China censors images of Hong Kong protests in TV broadcasts to mainland. On Sunday night, tens of thousands of protesters throughout Hong Kong faced down tear gas and baton charges, but the state-controlled broadcaster Dragon TV did not show these images. Instead, it cheerfully announced that 28 civil society groups had spent the weekend voicing their support for the central government's decisions on the region's political future. Protesters are furious at Beijing's framework for the city's next major election in 2017, calling it, quote, a fake democracy. Mainland authorities have severely restricted the spread of information about protests. Censors completely blocked the photo sharing service Instagram after it was flooded with pictures of unrest. On major social networking sites, pro-democracy posts are vanishing soon after they appear. Searches for Occupy Central and Hong Kong protests yielded only irrelevant photos and links to state media reports. Searches for Hong Kong brought up mainly shopping tips and restaurant reviews. China's state media has universally condemned the movement as an illegal protest by a small minority of extremists. TheGuardian.com. Dave Hodges of The Common Sense Show says that participation on Facebook could prove very dangerous to your future well-being. There is a reason that Facebook is aligned with both the CIA and the NSA, and according to several credible sources, all data posted on Facebook goes into a series of cataloged files which culminates with each person being assigned a, quote, threat matrix score. The mere existence of a threat matrix score should send chills up and down the collective spines of every American. When, not if, martial law comes to America, this threat matrix score, of which Facebook data is used to help compile a, quote, enemies of the state list, your future longevity could be seriously imperiled. However, it is not too late for the average American to limit their exposure by not posting and participating on Facebook. Facebook participation should come with a black box warning.
Warning. The views expressed on Facebook can and will be used against you. Participation in Facebook could prove detrimental to the length of your life. All political dissident views are immediately reported to the CIA and the NSA. Risk of repeated exposure on Facebook could result in you and your family being hauled out of their homes at 3 a.m., separated from your family, and sent to a re-education camp.
Before you dismiss this hypothetical black box warning as too much tongue-in-cheek, please consider that the NSA is presently extracting large amounts of Facebook data, and I do not think they are compiling a Christmas card list. Dave Hodges, CommonSenseShow.com. All hail the king of HTML. In a recent interview, Tim Berners-Lee, who 25 years ago invented the World Wide Web and life as we know it, tells us why you shouldn't trust governments, companies, or social media. From the London Evening Standard Online. As someone who is regularly called upon to speak on the future of the internet, Berners-Lee is modest and even rather shy. The internet, he is the first to point out, had been around for 20 years before he jiggled around with it. His big idea was to create a common language that would open hyperlinks between all the various networks. The codes he created back in 1989 still form the architecture of the web today. Even more crucial, however, was the spirit in which he created it. As he tweeted during the Olympics opening ceremony, "This is for everyone." Time has shown him, however, that the free internet cannot be taken for granted. So what does he see as the biggest single threat to the free internet today? Quote, the biggest threat is for any large, powerful force to take over the internet. When asked if those large companies might include Google, he says, well, I don't want to spend my time picking on individual companies. One of Berners-Lee's ideals is a decentralized internet, a hive network where no one has overall control. So which company has the potential to do greater harm? Google, which knows the names of all our desires, or Facebook, which knows the names of all of our friends? Quote, that is exactly the sort of question I am not going to answer, he laughs. Still, he does raise misgivings about the way Facebook operates. He says, quote, the ethos of Facebook is rather different from the anonymous internet. The idea is that your online persona is the same as your offline persona, end quote. In theory, that makes people more accountable for their online actions. In practice, it has led to Facebook closing down protest groups where anonymity is crucial. Quote, during the Arab Spring, there were many charities that were horrified by Facebook's attitude, end quote. It also worries him that Facebook tries to close its users off from the rest of the internet. Quote, Facebook wants you to spend all your web time on Facebook so they can show you more ads. Meanwhile, every time you tell them who's in a photo, that's a very valuable piece of information. They are building a huge database with that information, end quote. He has also been giving thought to Twitter as a social machine recently. Quote, I'm always struck by the amount of people who retweet other people's tweets. I always think, why do they do that? It must be because it gets them emotionally. So I often wonder if Twitter's main focus is as an amplifying medium for emotion on the internet, end quote. He uses the analogy of a laser, saying, quote, could Twitter become a laser for distrust, for example? You could end up with something like the Chinese Cultural Revolution, humanity becoming paranoid, turning against individuals, even becoming violent. The challenge is to build social machines so that we can not only do governance better, but that we can do society better. The web should serve humanity and be a reflection of humanity. The hope is that it will be a good reflection of humanity. It's so lucrative commercially, so powerfully politically, there will always be people trying to gain control. It's up to us to keep fighting for it." End quote. The London Evening Standard Online. Ruckus says, "Whatever, I do what I want." Don't forget to like my Facebook page and retweet this to all of your followers on Twitter. For the Alternate Current Radio Network, I'm Adam Clark, and this has been the Daily Ruckus for Monday, September 29th, 2014. This has been a presentation of the Ruckus Room, Reality Radio, in association with the ACR Network.